bark out of your head?
No, smart lady, I ain't. Miss Gina, she told me to get out that bottle. That very bottle for a mighty honored guest. And when Miss Gina changes her mind like that, you can bet your dime she's got her reason.
Go on, you'll be needed.
See what Zan did? Zan, she had 2 helpings of your frozen fruit cream. And she told that mighty honored guest, she told him, you make the best frozen fruit cream in all the South.
Did she? Well, see that Belle saves a little for her. She like it right before she go to bed. She like it like that.
Oh, Cal, I want to get rid of the kitchen boys from Hungary. He's look in my desk drawer and...
My Addie, what a good supper. Just as good can be.
You look pretty this evening, Miss Birdie, and young.
Me? Young? Oh.
Cal, maybe you better find Simon and tell him to do it himself. He's to look at my desk, the left drawer, and bring my music album right away.
Mr. Marshall is very anxious to see it.
Because of his father and the opera in Chicago.
Mr. Marshall is such a polite man with all his manners and very educated and cultured. And I've told him all about how my mama and papa would go to Europe for the music. Imagine going all the way to Europe just to listen to music. Now, wouldn't that be nice, Addie? Just to sit there and listen.
Left drawer, Cal. Tell him that twice because he tends to forget. And tell him not to let any of the things drop out of my album and to bring it right in here when he comes back.
Yes, I'll tell him, but he won't remember.
Left drawer, and tell him to bring my blue book.
Birdie?
Oh, Oscar, I was just sending Simon for a music album.
Never mind about the album. Miss Birdie has changed her mind.
But really, Oscar, really, I promised Mr. Marshall I would...
Why do you leave the dinner table and go running about like a child?
But Oscar, Mr. Marshall said most especially he wanted to see my album. I told him about the time Mom met Wagner, and Mrs. Wagner gave her the signed program and the big picture. Mr. Marshall wants to see that. Very, very much. We had such a nice talk and...
You have been chattering to him like a magpie. You've hardly let him be for a second tonight. I can't think he came south to be bored with you.
Bored? He wasn't bored. I don't believe he was bored. He's a very educated, cultured gentleman. I just don't believe it. You always talk like that when I'm having a nice time.
You have had too much wine. Get yourself in hand now.
What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. What am I doing?
I said, get yourself in hand. Stop acting like a fool.
I don't believe he was bored. I just don't believe it. Some people like music and like to talk about it. That's all I was doing.
Papa? Mama? They're coming in now.
Sit down, Birdie. Sit down now.
Miss Marshall, I think you're trying to console me. Chicago may be the noisiest, dirtiest city in the world, but I should still prefer it to the sound of our horses and the smell of our azaleas. I should like crowds of people and theaters and lovely women. Very lovely women, Mr. Marshall?
In Chicago? Oh, I suppose so. But I can tell you this. I have never dined there with 3 such lovely ladies.
Our southern women are well favored.
Oh, but one must go to Mobile for the ladies, sir. Very elegant, worldly ladies, too.
Worldly.
Eh? Worldly, did you say?
Your Uncle Ben means that worldliness is not a mark of beauty in any woman.
Of course, Uncle Ben, I didn't...
Your port is excellent, Mrs. Giddens.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. We had been saving that bottle, hoping we could open it just for you.
Oh, may I really, Addie?
Better ask Mama.
May, Mama?
In Mr. Marshall's honor.
Mr. Marshall, this will be the first taste of port I've ever had.
No one ever had their first taste of a better port. Well, I suppose it is all true, Mrs. Giddens.
What is true?
That you Southerners occupy a unique position in America. You live better than the rest of us, you eat better, and you drink better. I wonder you find time or want to find time to do business.
Well, a great many southerners don't, sir.
The Do all of you live here together?
Here with me? Oh no. My brother Ben lives next door, and my brother Oscar and his family live in the next square.
But we are a very close family, and we've always wanted it that way.
That is very pleasant, keeping your family together to share each other's lives. My family moves around too much, and my children seem never to come home. Away at school in the winter, and in the summer, Europe with their mother.
Oh yes, even down here we read about Mrs. Marshall in the society pages.
I dare say, she moves about a great deal. Do all of you part of the same business? Hubbard Sons?
Oscar and me, our sister's good husband, is a banker.
Oh,
I'm so sorry my husband isn't here to meet you. He's been very ill. He is away at Johns Hopkins, but he should be coming home soon. We think he's getting better now.
I work for Uncle Horace. I work for Uncle Horace at his bank. I keep an eye on things while he's away.
Really, Leo?
Modesty in the young is as excellent as it is rare.
Your uncle means that a young man should speak more modestly.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to reply.
oh, Miss Hubbard, where's that Wagner autograph you promised to let me see? My train will be leaving soon.
Oh, the autograph. Oh, well, really, Mr. Marshall, I didn't mean to chatter so much about it. You must excuse me. I didn't get it because I had a little headache and...
My wife is a miserable victim of headaches.
Mr. Marshall said at supper that he would like you to play for him, Alexandra.
Oh, it's not I who play well, sir. It's my aunt. She plays just wonderfully. She's my teacher. May we play a duet? May we, Mama?
Thank you, dear, but I have a headache now. I shouldn't.
Don't be stubborn, Bertie. Mr. Marshall wants you to play.
Indeed I do, if your headache isn't too bad.
But I'd like to, sir. Very much.
It is very remarkable how you Southern aristocrats have kept together. Kept together and kept what belonged to you.
You misunderstand, sir. You see, Southern aristocrats have not kept together and have not kept what belonged to them.
You don't call this keeping what belongs to you.
Oh, but we are not aristocrats, sir. Our brother's wife is the only one of us who belongs to the Southern aristocracy.
My information said you people have been here, and solidly here, for a long time.
And so we have, since our great-grandfather.
Who was not an aristocrat like Bertie is.
You make great distinctions.
Oh, they have been made for us. And maybe they are important distinctions. Now you take Bertie's family, for example. When our great-grandfather came here, they were the highest tone plantation owners in the state.
My mother's grandfather was governor of the state before the war.
They owned the plantation, Lynette. You may have heard of it, sir.
No, I've never heard of anything but brick houses on a lake and cotton mills.
Lionette, in its day, was the best cotton land in the South. It still brings us in a fair crop today. They were good days for those people, Mr. Marshall. Even when I can remember. They had the best of everything. Cloth from Paris, trips to Europe, horses you can't raise anymore, Negroes
We
to
were
lift
good
their
to our
fingers.
people. Everybody knew that. We were better to them
Why,
than...
Bertie, you aren't playing.
But when the war comes, these fine gentlemen ride off and leave the cotton and the women to rot.
My father was killed in the war. He was a fine soldier, Mr. Marshall. A fine man.
Yes, certainly, Bertie, a famous soldier.
But that isn't the tale I am telling Mr. Marshall. Well, sir, the war ends. Lionette is almost ruined, and the sons finish ruining it. There are thousands like them. Why? Because the Southern aristocrat can adapt himself to nothing. He is too high-toned to try.
Sometimes it is difficult to learn new ways.
Perhaps. Perhaps. You're right, Mr. Marshall. It is difficult to learn new ways, but maybe that's why it's profitable. You see, our grandfather and our father learned the new ways and learned how to make them pay. They work. They are in trade. Hubbard Sons merchandise. Others, Bertie's family, for example, look down on them. But to make a long story short, Lionette belongs to us now. 20 years ago, we took over their land, their cotton, and their daughter.
May I bring you a glass of port, Mrs. Hubbard?
No, thank you, sir. You're most polite.
You are boring Mr. Marshall with these ancient family tales.
I hope not. I hope not. I'm trying to make an important point for our future business partner.
My brother always says that it's folks like us who have struggled and fought to bring our land some of the prosperity of your land.
Some people call that patriotism.
I hope you don't find my brothers too obvious, Mr. Marshall. I'm afraid they mean that this is the time for us ladies to leave the gentlemen to talk business.
Not at all. We settled everything this afternoon. I have only a few minutes before I must leave for the train, and I insist they be spent with you.
And with another glass of port.
Thank you.
You know, Mr. Marshall, my sister is right. I am a plain man, and I am trying to say a plain thing. You see, a man ain't only in business for what he can get out of it. It's got to give him something here. Now that's every bit as true for the Negro picking cotton for a silver quarter as it is for you and me. If it don't give him something here, he don't pick the cotton right. You see, money ain't all, Mr. Marshall. Not by 3 shots.
Really? Well, I always thought it was a great deal.
And so did I.
Now, you don't have to convince me that you are the right people for the deal. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't convinced me 6 months ago. You want the mill here, and I want it here. It isn't my business to find out why you want it.
Well, to bring the machine to the cotton, and not the cotton to the machine.
You have a turn for neat phrases, Hubbard. Well, however grand your reasons are, mine are simple. I want to make money, and I believe I'll make time. Mind you, I have no objections to more high-minded reasons. They are mighty valuable in business. It's fine to have partners who so closely follow the teachings of Christ. And now I must leave for my train.
I'm so sorry you won't stay over with us, Mr. Marshall, but you'll come again, anytime you like.
Fill them up, boy. Fill them up. Down here, sir, we have a strange custom. We drink the last drink for a toast. And that's to prove that the Southerner is always on his feet for the last drink. It was Henry Frick, your Mr. Henry Frick, who said, "Railroads are the Rembrandts of investments." Well, I say, Southern cotton mills will be the Rembrandts of investments. And so, I give you the firm of Hubbard, Sons and Marshall Cotton Mills, and to it a long and prosperous life.
Hear, hear.
The children will drive you to the depot. Leo, Alexandra, you will drive Mr. Marshall down.
Yes, sir. It's not often that Uncle Ben lets me drive the horses. And what a beautiful pair they are. Come on, Zan.
May I drive tonight, Uncle Ben? Please, I'd like
In
to.
your
like-
evening clothes.
But Leo
Oh no,
always-
my dear.
I don't like to say goodbye to you, Mr. Marshall.
And we won't say goodbye. You have promised that you would come and let me show you Chicago. Do I have to make you promise again?
I promise again.
Goodbye, Mrs. Hubbard.
Goodbye, sir.
Remember,
I will.
We'll see you to the carriage.
And there, Birdie, goes the man who has opened the door to our future.
What?
Our future. Yours and mine. Ben's and Oscar's, the children's. Our future. You were charming at supper tonight, Birdie. Mr. Marshall certainly thought so.
Why, Regina, do you think he did?
Can't you tell when you're being admired?
Oscar said I bored Mr. Marshall. But he admired you. He told me so.
What did he say?
He said, "I hope your sister-in-law will come to Chicago. Chicago will be at her feet." He said the ladies would bow to your manners and the gentlemen to your looks.
Did he? He seems a lonely man. Imagine being lonely with all that money. I don't think he likes his wife.
Not like his wife? Regina, what a thing to say.
She's away a great deal. He mentioned that several times. Once he made fun of her for being so social and high-toned. But that fits in all right. Her being social, I mean. She can introduce me. It won't take long with an introduction from her.
Introduce you? You mean in Chicago? You really might go? Oh, Regina, you can't leave here. What about Horace?
Don't look so scared about everything, Birdie. I'm going to live in Chicago. I've always wanted to. And now, there'll be plenty of money to go with.
But Horace won't be able to move around. You know what the doctors wrote.
There'll be millions, Birdie, millions. You know what I've always said when people told me we were rich? I said, I think you should either be a Negro or a millionaire. In between, like us, what for? But anyway, I'm not going to Chicago tomorrow, Bertie. There'll be plenty of time to worry about Horace when he comes home. If he ever decides to come home.
Will we be going to Chicago? I mean, Oscar, Leo, and me.
You go to Chicago? I don't think so. Well, tonight is a very important night and we mustn't forget it. We shall plan all the things we want, and then we'll really have them. Make a wish, Bertie, any wish. It's bound to come true now.
Well, I don't know. I guess I know right off when I
You did it!
Looks like it might be we did.
Looks like it, don't pretend. You're like a cow who's been licking the cream. Now we must all have a drink to celebrate.
You know, the children, Alexandra and Leo, make a very handsome couple, Regina. Marshall himself remarked how well they look together.
Yes, you said that before, Oscar.
Yes, sir. Beginning to look as if the deal is all set. Now, I may not be a subtle man, but somebody asked me how I know that the deal is all set.
What do you mean, Ben?
Well, you remember how I told him that down here we drink the last drink for a toast?
Yes, I'd never heard that before.
Nobody's heard it before. But God forgives those who invent what they need. I already had his signature, but we've all done business with men whose word over a glass is better than a bond. Anyway, it don't hurt to have both.
You understand what Ben means, Regina?
Yes, Oscar, I understand. I understood immediately.
Did you, Regina? Well, when he lifted his glass to drink, I closed my eyes and I saw the bricks going into place.
And I saw a lot more than that.
Slowly. As yet we have only our hopes.
Bertie and I have just been planning what we want. What will you have, Ben?
Oh, careful. Don't count the chickens. Well, I suppose God would allow us a little daydreaming. It's good for the soul when you've worked hard enough to earn it. I think I'll have a stable. For a long while I've had my eyes on old Carters in Savannah. It's a rich man's pleasure, the sport of kings. Why not the sport of Hubbards? Why not?
Why not? And what will you want, Oscar?
Oh, I don't know. The pleasure of seeing the bricks grow will be enough for me.
Oscar, our greatest pleasure will be to see the bricks grow, but we are all entitled to a little side indulgence.
Oh yes, I suppose you're right. Well then, we might take a few chirps here and there, eh, Bertie?
Why, yes, Oscar. I'd like that.
We might even head down to Jekyll Island. You know, I hear the Cornelli place is for sale. Might think about buying it. Make a nice change. Do you good, Bertie. A change of climate. Fine shooting on Jekyll. The best.
I'd like
What would you like?
2 things. 2 things I'd like most.
2? I should like 1,000. You are modest, Bertie.
I should like to have Lionette back. I know you own it now, but I should like to see it fixed up again, the way Mama and Papa had it. Every year, it used to get a nice coat of paint. Papa was very particular about the paint, and the lawn was so smooth, all the way down to the river, with the trims of zinnias and the red feather plush, and the figs and the blue little plums and the scuppernongs. The organ is still there, and it wouldn't cost much to fix. We could have parties for Zan, the way Mama used to have for me.
That's a pretty picture, Bertie. It might be a most pleasant way to live. Now, what do you want, Regina?
I could have a cutting garden, just where Mama's used to be. Oh, I do think we could be happier there. Papa used to say that nobody had ever lost their temper at Lionette, and nobody ever would. Papa would never let anybody be nasty spoken or mean. No, sir. He just didn't like it.
What do you want, Regina?
I'm going to Chicago. And when I'm settled there, know the right people and the right things to buy, because I certainly don't know now, I shall go to Paris and buy them. I'm going to leave you and Oscar here to count the bricks.
Oscar, please let me have Lionette back.
Are you serious about moving to Chicago, Regina?
Oh, yes. She is going to see the great world and leave us and the little one. Well, we'll come and visit you and meet all of the great and be proud to know that you are our sister.
Certainly, Ben. You won't even have to learn to be subtle. You'll be rich, and the rich don't have to be subtle.
But what about Alexandra? She is 17, old enough to be thinking about marrying.
And Oscar, I have one more wish. Just one more wish.
What is it, Bertie? What are you saying?
I want you to stop shooting. I mean so much. I don't like to see animals and birds killed just for the killing. You only throw them
It'll
away.
take a great deal of money to live as you're planning, Regina.
Certainly, but there'll be plenty of money. You have estimated the profits very high.
And you never
I
let
have
anybody
estimated.
else shoot. And the Negroes need it so much to keep from starving. It's wicked to shoot food when poor people need it so
I have
much.
estimated the profits very high.
I've always
for
wanted to speak
myself.
with you about this, Oscar.
What are you chattering about, Bertie?
What
I
did you
was
say
talking about
Ben?
Lionette and about your shooting.
You are exciting
I
yourself.
said that I have estimated the profits.
You've been acting very
high
childish,
for
very
myself,
excited
not of course.
all evening.
I
Gina
didn't
just
hear you.
asked
There
what
was
I'd
so much
like,
talking.
now they'll be so rich.
What did you
Everybody
say,
was
Ben?
saying what they would like, so I said what I would like too.
I said
Very well. We've all heard you. That's enough.
I am waiting! I am waiting for you to finish. You and Bertie. 4 conversations are 3 too many. Now I said that I have, and I do, estimate the profits very high. For myself and Oscar.
And what does that mean?
Well, Regina, it goes like this. For 49%, Marshall will put up $400,000. For 51%, a controlling interest, mind you, we will put up $225,000, besides offering certain benefits that our local position allows us to manage. Ben means that $225,000 is a lot of money.
I know the terms, and I know it's a lot of money.
It is.
Ben means that we are ready with our 2/3 of the money. Your third, Horace's, doesn't seem to be ready. Ben has written to Horace, you have written to Horace, and I have written. He answers, yet he never mentions this business. Yet we have explained it to him in great detail, and have told him the urgency, yet he still never mentions it. Ben has been very patient, Regina. Naturally, you are our sister, and we want you to benefit from anything we do.
And in addition to your concern for me, you don't want control to go outside the family. That right, Ben?
Well, that's cynical. Then again, cynicism is only an unpleasant way of saying the truth.
Now, Regina, no need to be cynical. We would have no trouble raising the third share, the share that you want to take.
Yes, I'm sure you could get the third share. The share that you were saving for me. But that would leave you a strange partner. And strange partners often want a great deal. But perhaps it would be wise for you to go find him.
Now, Regina, don't talk like that. We would like to have you in, and you would like to come in.
Yes, I certainly would.
But we have not heard from Horace.
I've given my word the horse will put up the money. That should be enough.
It was enough. I took your word. I've got to have more than your word now, Regina. The contracts will be signed this week, and Marshall will want to see our money soon after. Regina, Horace has been in Baltimore for 5 months. I know that you've written for him to come home, and that he hasn't come.
It's beginning to look as if he doesn't want to come home.
Of course he wants to come home. You can't travel at any moment you choose with heart trouble. You know what doctors like once they get their hands on a case like
Oh,
this?
please, they can't very well keep him from answering letters, can they? Huh? They couldn't keep him from arranging the money if he wanted to?
Has
or-
it occurred to you that Horace is also a good businessman?
Certainly. He's a shrewd trader, always has been. The bank is proof of that.
Then, possibly, he may be keeping silent because he doesn't think that he's getting enough for his money. $75,000 he has to put up. That's a lot of money, too.
Nonsense, Regina. He knows a good thing when he hears it. He knows that we can make twice the amount of profit here on cotton goods manufactured than can be made up north.
That isn't what Regina means. May I interpret you, Regina? Regina means that Horace wants more than just a third of our share.
But he's only putting up a third of the money. You put up a third, you get a third. What else could he expect?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about these things. It would seem that if you put up a third, you should only get a third. But then again, there's no law about it, is there? I should think that if you knew your money was very badly needed, well, you might just say, I want more. I want a larger share. You boys have done that. I've heard you say so.
So you believe that Horace has deliberately held out for a larger share? I don't believe that. But I do believe that that's what you want. Am I right, Regina?
Oh, I shouldn't like to be too definite, but I could say that I would like to convince Horace to put up the money unless he did get a larger share. I must look after his interests. It's only natural that I
And where
would.
would this larger share be coming from?
I don't know. That's not my business. But perhaps it could come off your share, Oscar.
What kind of talk is this?
I haven't said a thing.
You are talking very big tonight.
Am I? Well, you should know me well enough to know I wouldn't be asking for things I didn't think I could get.
Listen, I don't even think you could get Horace to come home, much less get money from him, or talk quite so big about what you want.
Oh, I can get him to come home.
Then why haven't you?
I thought I should fight his battles for him before he comes home. Horace is a very sick man, and even if you don't care how sick he is, I do.
Stop this foolish squabbling. Regina, how can you get Horace to come home?
I will send Alexandra to Baltimore. She will ask him to come home. She will say that she wants him home and that I want him.
Of course she wants him here, but he's sick. And
You
maybe
agree
his
that he
habit
will come
is.
home if she asks him to, if she says that I miss him and want
I
him.
admire you, Regina, and I agree. Now, that's settled. Talk about it
But
tomorrow.
before you go, I want to know what he's going to get.
Very well, what do you want?
Twice what you've offered.
You won't get it.
You're talking crazy tonight.
Now, I don't want to fight
I don't
you.
either. But you won't get it. There isn't any chance of that. Now, you're holding us up. And that's not pretty, Regina. Not pretty. But we need you. And I don't want to fight. So here's what I'll do. I'll give Horace 40% instead of the 33 1/3% he really should get. Now, I'll do that provided he is home and his money is up within 2 weeks. How's that?
All right.
Now, I've asked before, where would this larger share be coming from?
From you, Oscar. From your share.
Oh, from me, is it? Oh, that's just fine and dandy. That's my reward, huh? For 35 years, I've worked my hands to the bone for you. For 35 years, I've done all the crap you didn't want to do, and this is what I get.
My. I'm being attacked tonight on all sides. First by my sister, and now by my brother. And I ain't a man who likes being attacked. Now, I can't believe that God wants the strong to parade their strength, but I don't mind doing it if it's got to be done. You really ought to take these things better, Oscar. I have made you money in the past. I'm going to make you more money now. You will be a very rich man. And what's the difference to any of us if a little less goes here and a little more goes there? It is all in the family, and it will stay in the family. Now, my money will go to Alexandra and to Leo. They may even marry someday.
Mary, Zan, and Leo?
That would make a great deal of difference in my opinion. If they married.
That's what I'm saying, Oscar. Of course it would make a difference if they married.
Is that what you mean, Regina?
Oh, it's too far away. We'll talk about it in a few years.
I want to talk about it now.
Naturally.
Well, there are many things to consider. They are first cousins, and
That isn't unusual. Our grandmother and grandfather were first cousins.
And look at us.
You're both being very gay with my money.
Oh, these quarrels. I dislike them so. A marriage would be a very wise arrangement for several reasons. Regina, Oscar has sacrificed a great deal for you. You should try to manage something for him.
I haven't said I was opposed to it, but Leo is a wild boy, and there are those times when he took little money from the bank and...
Oh, that's all past history, and you know that
I know, and I know all young men are wild. I'm only mentioning it to show you that there are other considerations.
All right, so there are. But please, assure Oscar you will think about it very seriously.
Very well. I assure Oscar that I'll think about it seriously.
That is not an answer.
You're in a bad humor this evening and shall put me in one. I've said all I'm willing to say now. After all, Horace has to give his consent too.
Horace will do what you tell him to do.
Yes, I think he will.
And I have your word that you will
Yes, you have my word that I'll think about it seriously.
Oh.
Now do leave me alone.
But Alexander's only 17.
Alexander, are you back?
Yes, Mama.
Mr. Marshall got off safe and sound. Weren't those fine clothes he had? You can always spot clothes made in a good place. Looks like maybe they were done in England. Lots of men in the north send all the way to England for their stuff.
Were you careful driving the horses?
Yes, sir, I was.
It's a lovely evening. You should have come, Aunt Bertie.
Were you gracious to Mr. Marshall?
I think so, Mama. I liked him.
Good. And now I have great news. Tomorrow you are going to Baltimore to bring your father home.
Me? Papa said I should come. That must mean, Addie, he must be well. Think of it. We'll bring him home. He'll be back home.
You are going alone, Alexandra.
Going alone? Going by herself? A child that age? Mr. Horace ain't gonna like Zan traipsing up there by herself.
Go upstairs and lay out Alexandra's things.
He'd expect me to be alone.
I'll be up in a few minutes to tell you what to pack. I should think you'd like to be going alone, Alexandra. At your age, it certainly would have delighted me. You are a strange girl. Addie has babied you so much.
I only thought it would be more fun if Addie and I went together.
Maybe I could go with her, Regina. I'd really like to.
She is going alone. She's getting old enough now to take some responsibilities.
She'd better learn now. She's 17. Old enough to be thinking about marrying, huh, son?
Yeah?
Old enough to be thinking about marrying. That's what you're thinking, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Lots of girls get married at Zan's age. Look at Mary Prester and Joanna.
Well, she's not getting married tomorrow, but she is going to Baltimore tomorrow. So let's talk about that. You'll be glad to have Papa home.
I wanted to go before Mama. You remember that. But you said that you couldn't go and that I couldn't go alone.
I've changed my mind. Tell your father that he must come home now, for your sake. Tell him that you need him home.
Need him home? I don't understand.
There's nothing for you to understand. You are simply to say what I tell you to.
But he may be too sick.
Yes, he may be too sick to travel. I couldn't make Papa think
You
he
couldn't
had
do
to...
what I tell you to do, Alexandra?
No. If I thought it would hurt Papa.
But you are doing this entirely for Papa's own good. You must let me be the judge of his condition. It's the best possible cure for him to come home and be taken care of here. He mustn't stay there anymore and listen to those alarmist doctors. Now, tell your father that I want him to come home and that I miss him very much.
Yes, Mama.
Now, I must start getting Alexandra ready. Why don't you all go home?
Very well, I'll attend to the railroad ticket. I'll have one of the boys bring it over. Have a nice trip, Alexandra. The food on the train is very good. The celery is so crisp. Have a nice trip and act like a little lady. Good night, all.
Good night, Ben. Good night, Oscar. Oh, Oscar, don't look so glum. Makes you look as if you've had chronic indigestion.
Good night, Regina.
Good night, Bertie.
Come along.
Imagine you're not wanting to go to Baltimore. What a little fool you are. Wish it were me. What I could do in a place like Baltimore.
Mind your business. I can guess the kinds of things you could do.
Oh, no, you couldn't.
Come on, Alexandra.
Zan,
I don't understand about my going, Aunt Bertie. But anyway, Papa will be home again. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. Really, I can.
That's not what I'm worried about, Zan.
What's the matter?
It's about Leo.
He beat the horses. That's why we were late getting back. We had to wait until they cooled off. He always beats the horses.
He's my son! My own son! But you are more to me than my own child. I love you more than anybody
I'm
else.
sorry about the horses, Aunt Bertie. I'm sorry I told you.
I'm not worrying about the horses. I'm worrying about you. You are not going to marry Leo. I'm not going to let them do that to you.
Marry? To Leo? I wouldn't marry Aunt Bertie. I've never even thought about it.
Hush. But they have thought about it. Zan, I couldn't stand to
I'm
think-
not going to marry. And I'm certainly not going to marry Leo.
But don't you understand? They'll make you. They'll make you marry Leo.
That's foolish, Aunt Bertie. Nobody can make me do anything. I'm grown now.
I just couldn't stand it.
Bertie, get your hat and coat now.
Come on, baby. Your mama's waiting for you, and she ain't nobody to keep waiting.
All right. Good night, Aunt Bertie. Good night, Uncle Oscar. Aunt Bertie, what happened?
Oh, nothing. Nothing happened. I only twisted my ankle.
What's this? It's not night. What's the matter here? A fine thing at this time in the morning. The blinds all closed. Where's Regina? It's freezing in here.
Miss Regina ain't down yet.
Has she had any word from them?
No, sir.
Wouldn't you think a girl at that age could get on a train at one place and have the sense enough to get off at another?
Something must have happened. If Zan says she's coming last night, she's coming last night. Unless something happened. Surefire disgrace to let a baby like that go all that way alone.
You do a lot of judging around here, don't you, Addie? Huh? Judging of your white folk, I mean?
I'm tired. I've been up all night watching for them.
Who's downstairs, Addie? Oh, it's you, Oscar. What are you doing here so early? I haven't been downstairs yet. I'm not finished dressing.
Have you had any word from them?
No.
Then something certainly has happened. People don't just say they're going to arrive by Thursday night and haven't arrived by Friday morning.
Oh, nothing has happened. Alexandra just hasn't got sense enough to send a message.
If nothing's happened, then why aren't they here?
You asked me that 10 times last night. My, why do you fret so, Oscar? Anything might have happened. Their train may have been delayed, they may have missed connections in Atlanta. Oh, 100 different things could have happened.
Where's Ben?
Where should he be? At home, probably. Really, Oscar, I don't tuck him into his bed and I don't take him out of it. Have some coffee and don't worry so much.
Have some coffee? There isn't any coffee. Never any coffee in this damn house. Oh, there you are. Is everything in this house always late?
You ain't out shooting this morning, Mr. Oscar.
Yeah, this is the first day I haven't shot since I had that head cold. It's the first day I missed in 8 years.
Yes, sir, I bet you. Simon, he said you had a mighty good day yesterday morning. That's what Simon said.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Bet you got enough Bob White and Squirrel to give every Negro in town a Jesus party. Ain't most of them had no meat since cotton picking season was over. Bet they give anything for a piece of that meat.
Cal, if I catch a Negro in this town going shooting, you know it's gonna happen.
Yes, sir. I didn't say nothing about nothing. It was Simon in. Good morning, Mr. Leo. You be having breakfast?
Boys in the bank don't know a thing. They haven't had any message.
What are you doing here, son?
You told me to find out if the boys at the bank had any message from Uncle Horace or Zane.
I told you if they had a message to bring it here. I told you if they didn't have a message to stay at the bank and do your work.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood.
You didn't misunderstand. You were just looking for any excuse to take an hour off. You've got to stop that kind of thing, Leo. You've got to start settling down. You're going to be a married man one of these days.
Yes, sir.
And you've got to stop with a woman in Mobile. Now, you're young, and I haven't got no objections to outside women. That is, I haven't got no objections so long as they don't interfere with serious things. Outside women have their time and place, but now isn't their place, and you've got to understand that.
Yes, sir. I'll tell her. She'll act all right about it.
And you've got to start working harder at the bank. You've got to convince your Uncle Horace you're going to be a fit husband for Alexandra.
What do you suppose has happened then? Supposed to be here last night. I bet you Uncle Ben's mighty worried. $75,000 worried.
Ought to be worried. He damn well ought to be. First he doesn't answer the letters, then he doesn't come home, and...
What if you don't come home, or if you don't...
Or don't put up the money? Oh, we'll get it from the outside. Easy enough.
You don't want outsiders.
What do I care who gets my money anymore? I've been shaved already. Serve Ben right if he had to give away some of his.
Damn shame what they did to you.
Don't talk so loud. Now, don't worry. When I die, you'll have as much as the rest. You might even have both yours and Alexandra's. I'm not so easily licked.
I wasn't thinking of myself, Papa.
Well, you should be. You damn well should be, Leo. It's every man's duty to think of himself.
You think Uncle Horace don't want to go in on this?
That's my hunch. He hasn't shown any signs of loving it yet.
Oh, but he hasn't listened to Aunt Regina yet either. Oh, he'll go along. It's too good a thing. Why wouldn't he want to? He's got plenty and plenty to invest with. He don't even have to sell anything. He's got $88,000 worth of Union Pacific bonds just sitting right there in the safe deposit box. All he's got to do, open the box.
Mighty late breakfast in this fancy house. Yes, he's had those bonds for 18 years now. Bought them when they were low and just locked them up.
That's it. Open the box. Easy as easy can be. Things in that box. All those bonds looking mighty fine. And then, right next to them, is a baby shoe of Zan's and a cheap old cameo on a string. And nobody believed this. A piece of an old violin. Not even a whole violin. It's a piece of an old thing.
A piece of a violin. What do you think of that?
Yes, sirree. And a lot of other crazy things, too. A poem, I guess it is. Signed with his mother's name. And a few old school books with notes. And, well...
How do you know what's in the box, son?
Well, it was one of the boys at the bank. It was Joe Horns. It was Joe Horns. He just up and he took the keys out of Maynard's drawer, and then he took the box out, and well, I mean, I guess they all asked me if I wanted to see, so, I mean, I guess I looked a little bit, but then I told him to put the keys back in Maynard's drawer and close the box.
Joe Horns, you said? He opened it.
Yes, sir. My word of honor was Joe Horns. I mean, I guess that don't excuse me for looking, but I did make him put the keys back in Maynard's drawer and close the box right
Tell me
up.
the truth, Leo. I am not going to be angry with you. Did you open the box yourself?
No, I told you.
Leo, I am not going to be angry with you. Sometimes a young man deserves credit for looking around him to see what's going on. Sometimes that's a good sign in a fellow your age. Many great men have made their fortune with their eyes. Now, I'm going to ask you again. Did You opened the box yourself.
No,
Leo, did you open the box? It may have even been a good thing if you had.
I opened.
Is that the truth? Does anybody else know you opened it? Come, Leo, don't be afraid of speaking the truth with me.
No, nobody was in the bank when I did it. Uncle Horace.
Did your Uncle Horace ever know you opened it?
No, Uncle Horace, he only looks in the box once every 6 months when he cuts the coupons. Sometimes, Mander even does that for him. He don't even have the keys. Mander keeps them. Can you imagine not looking at all that? You can bet that if I had the bonds, I'd watch it.
If you had them. If you had them. Then you could have the share in the mill. You and me. A fine, big share, too. Well, a man can't be shot for wanting to see his son get ahead in the world, can he, boy?
No, he can't. Natural enough. Well, but I haven't got the bonds, and Uncle Horace has. And now, all we can do is just sit back and wait to be a millionaire.
You think your Uncle Horace likes you well enough to lend you the bonds if he decides not to use them himself?
Papa, it must be that you haven't had your breakfast. Lend me the bonds?
No, I suppose
My
not.
gosh.
Just a fancy of mine. A loan for 3 months, maybe 4. Easy enough for us to pay him back then. Anyways, it's only April, and if he doesn't look at them again until fall, he wouldn't even miss them out of the box.
That's it. You wouldn't even miss
No,
them.
sir, he wouldn't even miss them. How could he miss them if he never even looks at them? And here we are, just sitting around and waiting for him to come home and invest his money in something he hasn't even lifted his finger to get. But I can't help but thinking he's acting quite strange. Now, you laugh when I say he could lend you the bonds if he doesn't use them himself, but would it hurt him?
No. No, it wouldn't.
People ought to help other people, Leo. But that's not always the way it happens. And so sometimes you've got to think of yourself. Morning, Ben.
Fine sunny morning. Is there any news from the runaways?
There's no news, you would have heard it. Quite a convention so early in the morning, aren't you all?
You're rising mighty late these days, Regina. Is that how things are done in Chicago society?
Old Carter died up in Senateville. 81 is a good time for us all, no? What do you think really happened to Horace, Regina?
Nothing.
You don't think maybe he never started from Baltimore and he never intends to start?
Of course they've started. Didn't I have a letter from Alexandra? What is so strange about people arriving late? Anyway, he has that cousin in Savannah he's so fond of. I may have stopped to see him. Oh, they'll be along today sometime. Very flattered that you and Oscar are so worried about them.
I'm a natural worrier, especially when I'm getting ready to close a business deal and one of my partners remains both silent and invisible.
Oh, is that it? I thought you were worried about Horace's health.
Oh, that too, Regina. Who could help but worry? I'm worried. This is the first day I haven't shot since I had that head cold 8 years ago.
Then you haven't had your breakfast. Come along.
Regina, that cousin of Horace's has been dead for years. And in any case, the train does not go through Savannah.
Did he die? You're always remembering about people dying. No, I intend to eat my breakfast in peace and read my newspaper.
This is second breakfast for me. My first was bad. Celia ain't the cook she used to be. Too old to have taste anymore. If she hadn't belonged to Mama, I'd send her off to the country.
Uncle Horace doesn't tell to tell I bet. Baltimore is a lively town.
The grits isn't hot enough. Take it back.
Yes, sir. Grits didn't hold the heat. Grits didn't hold the heat.
to myself we could train out in Baltimore. It was so big, darn near Europe. I was just a kid then.
I find it very pleasant to have breakfast alone. I hate chattering before I've had something hot. Do be still, Leo.
How are you, Betty? How have you been?
I'm all right, Mr. Horace. I've just been worried about you.
Now, don't tell me how worried you were. We couldn't help it, and there was no way to send a message.
Yes, sir, I was mighty worried.
We had to stop in Mobile overnight. Papa didn't feel well. The trip was too much for him, so I made him stop and rest. This is Father's medicine. I'll hold it. It mustn't break. Now about the stuff outside. Papa must have his valises and his wheelchair. I'll go get that, and then I should go.
Since when you got to carry your own valises? Since when I ain't old enough to hold a bottle of medicine? You feel all right, Mr. Horace?
Glad to be sitting down.
No, he doesn't feel all right. He just says that. The trip was too much for him, and now he must go right to bed.
Them fancy doctors, they give you help?
They did their best.
Papa, have you part of the paper?
Oh, I bet Mama was worried. I'd better tell her we're here now.
Zan, wait just a minute, dear.
Oh, Papa, you feel bad again, don't you? I knew you did. Do you want your medicine?
No, I don't feel that way. I'm just a little tired. Let me rest a little.
But Mama will be mad if I don't tell her we're back.
They're all in there eating breakfast.
Oh, are they all here? Why do they always have to be here? I was hoping Papa wouldn't have to see anybody. It would be nice for him and quiet.
And let your papa rest for a minute.
Addie, I bet your coffee's as good as ever. They don't make such good coffee up north. Is it as good, Addie?
No, Dr. Reeves said not much coffee, just now and then. I'm the nurse now, Addie.
You'd be a better one if you didn't look so dirty. Now go and take a bath, Miss Grown-Up, change your linens, get out a fresh dress, and give your hair a good brushing. Go on.
Will you be all right, Papa?
Go on.
Now the medicine Papa must take once every 4 hours, and the bottle only when he feels very bad. Now don't move until I get back, and don't talk too much, and don't forget about the medicine, Addie.
Ring for Belle and have her help you. Then I'll make you a fresh breakfast.
How's Birdie? Is she here?
It ain't right for you to have coffee. It'll hurt you.
Nothing can make much difference now. Get me a cup, Addie. It's funny how they don't make coffee up north. That's good. Remember how I used to drink it, Addie? 10, 12 cups a day? Addie, before I see anybody else, I want to know why Zan came to fetch me home. She's tried to tell me, but she didn't seem to know herself.
I don't know. All I know is big things are going on around here. Everybody gonna be high-tone rich. Big rich. You too. All 'cause smoke's gonna start out of a building that ain't even up yet.
I've heard about it.
And will Zan? She gonna marry Mr. Leo.
What are you talking about?
That's right. That's the talk, God help us.
What's the talk?
I'm telling you, there's going to be a wedding. Over my dead body there is.
Go and tell them I'm home, Addie.
Now you ain't to get excited.
Go on, Addie. Tell them I'm back.
Miss Regina, they're here. They
Oh,
are.
they are. Good.
Just now.
Horace? Horace! You finally arrived.
Well, sir, you had us all mighty worried.
You're a sight for sore eyes, Horace.
Hello, Ben.
Yes.
How you feeling? Tip top, I bet. If that's the way you're looking.
Hello, Oscar. Hello, Leo. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, sir, but I'm a lot better now that you're back.
Now, why don't you sit down? What did happen to you? And where's Alexandra? I'm so excited about seeing you that I almost forgot about her.
I didn't feel good. A little weak, I guess. So we stopped overnight to rest. Zan's upstairs washing up the train yard.
I'm so sorry the trip was hard on you. I didn't think it would bother you so much.
Well, it's just as if I had never left. All of you here.
Waiting to welcome you home.
Horace,
Bertie, I was wondering where you were.
Oh, I would have been here. I didn't know you were back until Simon said he saw the buggy. Oh, you don't look well, Horace. No, you don't.
Bertie, what a thing to say.
Oscar thinks I look very well.
Don't just stand there holding that biscuit in your hand, Leo. Get the hell out.
Well, I'll just go finish my breakfast, and then Uncle Horace will give you all the news about the banquet.
And what is that costume you're wearing, Bertie?
Now that you're home, you'll feel better. Plenty of good rest, and we'll take such fine care of you. But where is Zan? I've missed her so much.
I asked you, what is that strange costume you're parading around in?
Me? Oh, it's my wrapper. I was so excited about Horace that just ran to the house.
Did you come across the square dressed that way?
Yes.
Bertie.
It's just like old times.
Now, no fights. This is a holiday.
Zanny.
Bertie.
Tell Zan I'll be back in a little while.
Now, why don't you go finish your breakfast and let Horst rest for a minute?
Never leave a meal unfinished. Too many poor people who need the food. Mighty glad to see you home, Horace. It's fine to have you back. Fine to have you back.
Your mother has gone crazy. Running around the streets like a...
Well, it's been a long time. 5 months. You know, Horace, I wanted to come and be with you in the hospital, but I wasn't sure what my duty was, here or with you. But you know how much I wanted to come.
That's very kind of you, Regina, but there was no need to come.
Oh, but there was. 5 months lying there all by yourself, no kinfolk, no friends. Don't try and tell me you didn't have a bad time of it.
I didn't have a bad time of it. No, really, I didn't. At first, when I heard the news about myself. But after that, I got used to it. I liked it.
You liked it? Isn't that strange? You liked it so well you didn't want to come home?
That's not the way to put it. But there I was, and I kind of got used to it. Kind of to like lying there and thinking. I've never had much time to think, and time's become valuable to me now.
It sounds almost like a holiday.
It was sort of. The first holiday I've had since I was a little kid.
And here I was thinking you were in pain.
I wasn't.
And instead you were having a holiday. A holiday of thinking. Couldn't you have done that here?
I wanted to do it before I came here. I was thinking about us.
About us? About you and me? Thinking about you and me after all these years. Well, you must tell me what you thought about someday.
Regina, why did you send Zan to Baltimore?
Why? Because I wanted you home. You can't make anything suspicious out of that.
I don't mean to make anything suspicious about it. She told me you wanted me home, and I was so touched at that, and pleased. It made me feel good.
Touched that I should want you home.
I'm saying all the wrong things as usual. But to try and get along better, Regina, I haven't got much more time. Now what's all this crazy talk I've been hearing about Zan and Leo? Zan and Leo marrying?
Who gossips so much around here?
Regina!
Some foolishness that Oscar thought up. I'll explain later. I have no intention of allowing any such arrangement to take place. It was merely a way of keeping Oscar quiet in all this business I've been writing to you about.
What has Zan to do with any business of Oscar's? Whatever it is, you'd better put it out of his head immediately. You know how I feel about Leo.
But there's no need to talk about it
There
now.
will never be a need to talk about it. Not as long as I live. As long as I live. I've been in the hospital for 5 months, yet not once since I've been back have you asked about my health. Well, they've written you, I suppose. I can't live very long.
I've never understood why people have the need to talk about this sort of thing.
You misunderstand. I don't mean to gossip about my sickness. I only thought it fair to let you know. I was not looking for your sympathy.
What do the doctors think caused your bad heart?
What do you mean?
They didn't think it possible, did they, that your fancy women may have
Caused my heart to be bad? I don't think that's the best scientific theory. You don't catch heart trouble in bed.
I didn't think you did. I only thought you might catch a bad conscience. In bed, as you say.
I didn't tell them about my guilty conscience. I didn't tell them about my fancy woman either. Nor did I tell them that my own wife hasn't wanted me for, how long is it, Regina? 10 years? So you brought me home for this, to make me feel guilty again? That means you want something. But you won't make me feel guilty anymore. My thinking has made a difference.
I see that it has.
Put down that paper, Leo.
It was foolish for us to fight this way. I didn't mean to be unpleasant. I was stupid.
God knows I didn't either. I came home wanting so much not to fight. And suddenly, there we were. I got hurt.
It's all my fault. I didn't ask about your illness because I didn't want to remind you of it. Anyway, I never believe doctors when they talk about, well, when they talk about that.
Well, we'll try our best with each other, Regina.
I'll try, really I will. Horace, I know you're tired, but couldn't you stay down here just a few minutes longer? I want Ben to tell you something.
Tomorrow.
I'd like to now. It's very important to me. Important to all of us. Important to your beloved daughter. She'll be a very great heiress someday.
Will she? That's nice.
Ben, are you finished breakfast?
Is this the mill business I've gotten so many letters about?
Horace would like to talk to you now.
Horace would not like to talk to you now. Regina, I am very tired.
You've said we'll
Please
try our
let me
best
go.
with each other. I'll try. Really, I will. But please do this for me now. You will see what I've done while you've been away. How I've watched your interests. And I've done very well, too. But it can't be delayed any longer. Everything must be settled this week. Now you must tell Horace all about it, only be quick because he's very tired and must go to bed. But I think your news will be better for him than all the medicine in the world.
It could wait. Horace may not feel like talking today.
What an old faker you are. You know it can't wait. You've been just as anxious for him to come home as I have been.
Well, I suppose I have been, but why not? Horace has done Hubbard's sons many a good turn in the past, so why shouldn't I be anxious to help him now?
Help him? Help him when you need him. That's what you mean.
What a woman you married, Horace. Well then, I'll be brief. Horace, you know what I've always said. How for years I've been telling you that every one of us little southern businessmen has had great things just beyond our fingertips. It's been my dream to make those fingers grow just a bit longer. I'm a lucky man, Horace. A lucky man. To dream and to live to get what you've dreamed of. That's my idea of a lucky man, anyways. For 30 years, I have cried, bring the cotton mills to the cotton. And I finally got up the nerve to go to the Marshall Company in Chicago.
I know all that.
Can I get you something?
Some water, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me. You feel all right now?
Yes. You wrote me. I know all that.
But what you don't know is that in the last few days, Ben has agreed to give us, you I mean, a much larger share.
Oh, really? How generous of him.
It wasn't so generous of me. It was smart of Regina.
I explained to Ben that perhaps you hadn't answered his letters because you didn't think it was offering you enough. And that time was getting short and you could guess
And
how
I
much.
could guess he wanted to keep control in the family?
Exactly. So I did a little bargaining for you and convinced my brothers that they were the only Hubbards with a business sense.
Did you have to convince them of that? How little people know about each other. But you'll know better next time, eh, Ben?
Oh, Horace.
So let's see. We're getting a larger share. So who's getting less?
Oscar.
Oscar. How unselfish of you. What's happened?
Oscar doesn't mind. It's not worth fighting about now. Right, Oscar?
I'll get mine in the end. You can be sure of that. I've got my son's future to think about.
Leo. I see. I'm beginning to see. Everybody will get theirs.
I knew you'd see it. 75,000. And that 75,000 will make you $1 million.
It will, Horace, it will.
I believe you. Now I can understand Oscar's self-sacrifice. But what did you have to promise Marshall, other than the money you're putting up?
They wouldn't take promises, they wanted guarantees.
Of what?
Water power. Free and plenty of it.
And you got them that, of course.
Cheap, too. You know, you'd think that the governor of such a great state would make his price a little bit higher. From pride, you know. Cheap wages. What do you mean by cheap wages? I say to Marshall. Cheaper than those in Massachusetts. And that averages $8 a week. $8 a week. By God, I tell him I'd work for $8 a week myself. Why, there ain't a mountain white or a town Negro but wouldn't give his right arm for $3 silver a week, right, Horace?
Sure. And they'll take even less when you get around to playing them off against each other. You can save a little money that way, Ben. And you can make them hate each other just a little more than they already do now.
What's all this about?
Now, there will be no trouble from anybody, black or white. Marshall said that to me. What about strikes? That's all we've had in Massachusetts for the last 3 years. What's a strike? I say to Marshall. Never heard of one. Come south, Marshall. You've got good folks and we don't stand for any fancy fooling.
You're right. Well, looks like you've made a pretty good deal for yourselves. And for Marshall, too. Your father used to say that he made the thousands, and you boys would make the millions. I'm beginning to think he was right.
Millions for us, too.
Us? You and me? I don't think so, Regina. We have enough money. We'll just sit back and watch the boys grow rich. Leo, how are things at the bank?
Fine, sir. Everything is fine.
And how are the ladies in Mobile? Whatever made you think I let
Do you mean that you were turning this down? Is it possible that's what you mean?
No, that isn't what Horace means. Turning down a fortune. No. Horace is tired. He'd rather talk about it tomorrow. I can come
We
back in
can't
the
keep
morning.
putting it off this way. Oscar must be in Chicago by the end of the week with the money and contracts.
Yes, sir. Gotta be there at the end of the week. No sense in going without the money.
I've waited long enough for your answer. I'm not going to wait any longer.
I'm very tired now, Regina. This can wait.
Now, Horace probably has his reasons. Things he'd like explained. Tomorrow
I
we'll
want
do.
to know
I
his
can-
reasons now.
I don't know them myself. Let's leave it at that.
We shall not leave it at that. We have waited here for you like children. Waited for you to come home.
So that's why you wanted me home? To invest my money? Well, I had hoped. If you are disappointed, Regina, I am very sorry. I must do what I think best. Talk about this another day.
We'll talk about it now. Just you and me.
I am very tired now, Regina. I've had a hard trip. Please leave me alone.
I want to talk to you, Horace. I'm coming up.
Regina, sometimes it is better to wait for the sun to rise again. And as our mother used to tell you, it's unwise for a good-looking woman to frown. Softness and a smile do more for the heart of men than...
Let us hope she'll change his mind, huh, Ben? Let us hope.
The paper says 27 cases of yellow fever in New Orleans. I guess the floodwaters caused it. I thought they were building levees, trying to stop that sort of thing. Well, I guess it's like the Negroes always say. Man, woman, women can't build nothing high enough for the Mississippi.
I can't understand what you mean. I can't believe that you mean to turn this down. This is what you've been waiting for. What all of us have been waiting for. You must be going crazy, or you must have reasons that you're not telling us.
I don't know them myself. I just don't want it.
You don't want it, but I do want it.
No, Ben. Just suppose she doesn't change his mind. Just suppose he keeps on refusing. What then?
Horace is tired. It was a mistake talking to him today. He's a sick man, but he isn't a crazy one.
But just suppose he is crazy. What then?
Then we go outside for the money. There's plenty who would give it.
And plenty who will want more for what they give. The ones who are rich enough to give will be smart enough to want. And then we'll be the ones working for them, won't we, then?
You don't have to tell me the things I told you 6 months ago, Oscar.
Oh, then I suppose you're right. She will change his mind. She always has.
People don't just pass up chances like this. I won't let you pass up chances like this. I won't let you pass up this one just because you've gone crazy.
Maybe.
And if you change your mind in a week, it'll be too late. It's got to be done now.
I won't change my mind. I don't want it.
You don't want it, but I do want it. And you're right. I'm right to expect that you look after my future, of your child's future.
No, I never did believe he was going in with us. I never believed it.
What the hell do you expect me to do, Oscar?
Nothing. You've done your almighty best, Ben. Nobody could blame you if the whole thing just slipped away, right through our fingers. You can't do a damn thing. But there may be something that I can do for us. Or might I better say, Leo could do for us. Ain't that right, Leo? Ain't it true that you can do something to help your own kinfolk?
Papa, Oscar, how could he help us?
Leo's got a friend. Leo's friend owns $88,000 worth of Union Pacific bonds. Leo's friend doesn't look at the bonds too much. Only about 5 or 6 months at a time.
Union Pacific.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Let me understand. Leo's friend would lend him these bonds, and Leo
Would be kind enough to lend them to us.
Leo,
Yes, sir.
when would your friend be wanting the bonds back?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He didn't.
You told me he wouldn't look at them again until fall.
Well, that's right. Uncle Horace.
Be still.
Your uncle doesn't want to know the name of your friend.
That's a good one. Not know his name.
Shut up, Leo. Leo's friend won't look at them again until September. That gives us 5 months. Leo will return the bonds in 3 months. And we won't have any trouble raising that share once the mills are going up. Now, will Marshall accept bonds?
I have a right to expect that.
Please go away and leave me alone now.
No, I won't let you alone. I demand that you put the money, and I demand that you do it immediately.
Why not? Why not? Good. We'll take the loan from Leo's friend. I do believe he'll make a safer partner than our sister. How soon can you get them?
Today, right now, in the safe deposit.
I don't want to know where they are.
And we will keep it secret from you.
Good. We are lucky. We'll draw a check for our part. You can take the night train for Chicago. Oscar, good luck to us.
Leo will be taken care of.
I'm entitled to Uncle Horace's share. I'd enjoy being a partner.
Oh, you would? You can go to hell, you greedy bastard.
No. He didn't mean it like that. I just want to make sure he'll get something out of all this.
Of course. We'll take care of him. We won't have any trouble about that. I'll see you at the store.
Good. That's settled then. Come along, Leo.
Uncle Ben, I didn't mean just that. I just meant what a great day this was for you and for me.
Go on.
Nobody would turn this down. You must have your reasons. You must have reasons that you're not telling us. Mama, Joe. What are they? What possible reasons could there be? All my life, I've had to force you to take something of yourself.
Let me alone, woman.
No, I won't let you alone. If I let you alone, you'd still be working for somebody else.
So that's why you wanted me home?
Yes, that's the reason.
Then it's a bad one, because it
make Mama stop. Oh,
Alexandra, you have a tender heart.
Oh, please, go on up. He's so sick. Oh.
Now you see, everything is over. You mustn't worry so much. Alexandra, I want you to tell your mother how very sorry I am that I had to leave. And really, you mustn't worry so much, my dear. Married folk frequently raise their voices, unfortunately.
How can you talk to Papa like that? He's sick. He's so sick. Don't you know that? I won't let you.
Mind your business, Alexandra. How much longer can you wait for the money?
He has refused. My, that's too bad.
He will change his mind. I'll make him change his mind. What's the longest you can wait now?
I could wait until next week, but I can't wait until next week. I could, but I can't. Could and can't. Well, really, I must be going. I'm very late.
You're not going. I want to talk to you.
Oh, I was just about to give Alexandra a message for you. Oscar is going to Chicago tonight, so unfortunately, we cannot be here for our usual Friday supper.
Oscar is going to What do you mean?
Just that. Everything is settled. He's going on to
I demand to know what... You are lying. You are trying to scare me. You can't have the money. How could you have it? You will wait until I...
You are getting out of hand. Since when do I take orders from you?
Wait, you... How can he have the money? Did a ghost ride with it? Come back here! Come back here, you little shit!
It's a great day when you and Ben cross swords. I've been waiting for it for years.
Papa, please go on up.
And so they don't need you. And so you will not have your millions after all.
You hate to see anybody live now, don't you? You hate to think that I'm going to be alive and have what I want.
I should have known you'd think that was the reason.
Because you're going to die. And you know you're going to die.
Mama! Papa, don't listen to...
Not to keep you from getting what you want. Not even partly that. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of this house. I'm sick of my life here. I'm sick of your brothers and their dirty tricks to make a dime. There must be better ways of getting rich than cheating Negroes on a pound of bacon. Why should I give you the money? To pound the bones of this town? To make dividends to spend? You wreck the town. You and your brothers. You wreck the town and you live on it. Maybe it's easy for the dying to be honest, but it's not my fault that I'm dying. I'll do no more harm. I've done enough. I'll die my own way, and I'll do it without making the world any worse. I leave that to you.
I hope you die. I hope you die soon. I'll be waiting for you to die.
Papa, don't listen.
Come here,
Please don't
Sam.
listen.
Come out of this room.
We used to play together, Horace. Remember?
What, Bertie?
We played together, you and me.
Papa used to play?
Indeed he did. He played the fiddle, and very well too.
I never knew that, Papa.
Where's your mama?
Oh, gone to Miss Sophronia's to fit her dresses.
Addie,
Yes, Mr. Horse?
go and tell Cal to get on his things. I want him to go on an errand.
It's too bad it's been raining all day, Papa. But you can go out in the yard tomorrow. Don't be restless.
Don't worry, I'm not restless here.
I remember so well the time we played together. Your papa and me. It was the first time Oscar ever brought me here for supper. I had never seen all the Hubbards together before, and you know what a ninny I am, and how shy. You said you could play the fiddle, and you'd be much obliged if I'd play with you. I was obliged to you, all right, all right. Horace, you haven't heard a word I've said.
Bertie, when did Oscar get back from Chicago?
Yesterday. Hasn't he been here yet?
No, neither has Uncle Ben since that day.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that bad. Oscar never tells me anything.
The Hubbards have had their great quarrel. It was coming for years. It finally came.
It came, It certainly came all right.
But Oscar was in such a good humor when he got home. I didn't
I can
realize-
understand that.
Addie, a party. What for?
Nothing for. I had fresh butter, so I made the cakes. And a little elderberry does the stomach good in the rain.
Oh, isn't this nice? A party just for us. Come, let's play party music, Zan.
Come over here, Mr. Horace, and don't you be thinking so much. A glass of elderberry will do more good.
Good cakes, Addie. It's nice here. Just us. Be nice if it could always be this way.
Quiet and restful.
Well, won't be that way long. Little while now, even sitting here, you'll hear the red bricks going into the place. The next day, the smoke will be pushing out the chimneys. And by church time that Sunday, every human born of woman will be living on chicken. That's how Mr. Ben's been telling the story.
And they believe it that way?
Believe it? They used to believe in what Mr. Ben orders. There ain't been so much talk around here since Sherman's army didn't come near.
They're fools.
You ain't born in the South unless you're a fool.
But we didn't play together after that night. Oscar said he didn't like me to play in the piano. You know what he said that night?
Who?
Oscar. He said that music made him nervous. He said he just sat and waited for the next note. Oh, he wasn't poking fun. No, he meant it. Well, your papa don't like to admit it, but he's been mighty kind to me all these years. Often he'd step in when somebody said something, and once he even stopped Oscar from... Oh, I'm sorry I said that. Why, here I am so happy, and yet I think about bad things. That's not right now, is it?
Have a cake, Cal.
Oh, yes, sir. You want to see me, Mr. Oscar?
What time is it, Cal?
About 10 before it's 5.
Now you walk yourself down to the bank.
It'll be closed. Ain't no one gonna be there but Mr. Manders, Mr. Joe Horns, Mr. Leo.
Just go in the back way. They'll all be at the table going over the day's business. You see that box?
Yes, sir.
Now you tell Mander that Mr. Horan says he's mighty obliged for him bringing that box, and it arrived all right.
He knows the box came out right. He bring it here himself Wednesday. I open up the door, he say, "Good morning, Cal. Come along to be summer
Just
weather."
say what I tell you. Understand?
No, I ain't gonna say understand. I'm going down and tell a man he brought a box, he know he brought. And you say, understand?
Now, Cal,
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I'll go down and say you're obliged the box coming in good condition. But I ain't gonna say understand.
and tell him to come over here after supper, and to bring Mr. Saul Fowler with him.
To come up after supper and bring his attorney-at-law, Saul Fowler, with him.
That's right.
Okay.
Just go in the back and say your piece.
Okay.
In front of everybody.
Okay? In front of everybody? Okay. But I want to understand.
Is anything the matter, Papa?
Oh no, nothing.
Miss Birdie, is that elderberry gonna give you a headache spell?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it will.
Do you want your medicine, Papa?
No, I'm all right, darling.
Mama used to give me elderberry wine when I was a little girl for hiccups. You know, I don't think people get hiccups anymore. Isn't that funny? I always used to get hiccups just when I shouldn't have.
And nobody get growing pains no more. That is funny, just as if there's some style in what you get. One year an ailment's stylish and the next year it ain't.
And there I was, with hiccups, and Mama laughing. Mama always laughed. A big party, a lovely dress for Mr. Worth in Paris, France, and hiccups. My brother pounded me on the back, and Mama with the elderberry bottle, laughing at me. Everybody was on their way to come, and I was such a ninny, hiccuping away. You know, that was the first day I ever saw Oscar Hubbard. The Bowings were selling their horses, and he was going there to buy. He passed by us and lifted his hat. We could see him through the window. And then, my brother, to tease Mama, said maybe she should have invited the Hubbards to the party. He said Mama didn't like them because they kept a store, and he said that was old-fashioned of her. And then I saw Mama angry for the first time in my life. She said that wasn't the reason. She said she was old-fashioned, but not in that way. She said she was old-fashioned enough not to like people who killed animals they couldn't use and who made their money charging awful interest to the poor ignorant Negroes and cheating them on what they bought. She was very angry, Mama was. I had never seen her face like that. And then, suddenly, she laughed and said, "Oh, look, I frightened Birdie out of the hiccups." And so she had. They were all gone.
Yeah, well, they got mighty well off cheap Negroes. Well, there are people who eat the earth and eat all the people on it, like in the Bible with the locusts. Then there are people who stand around and watch them eat it. Sometimes I think it ain't right to stand and watch them do it.
Like I say, if we could only go back to Lionette, everybody would be better there. They'd be good and kind. I like people to be kind. Don't you, Horace? Don't you like people to be kind?
Yes, Bertie.
Yes. That was the first day I ever saw Oscar Hubbard. Who would have thought? Y'all want to know something? Well, I don't like Leo. My very own son, I don't like him. I guess they even like Oscar more.
Aunt Bertie, why did you marry Uncle Oscar?
That's no question for you to be asking.
Why not? She's heard enough around here to ask anything.
Aunt Bertie, why did you marry Uncle Oscar?
I don't know. I thought I liked him. He was kind to me then, so I thought he liked me too. But that wasn't the reason. That's why he married me. I can tell you that. He's told it to me often enough.
Miss Bertie, don't.
My family was good, and the cotton on Lionette's fields was better. Ben Hubbard wanted the cotton, so Oscar Hubbard married it for him. He was kind to me then. He used to smile at me. He hasn't smiled at me since. Everybody knew that's what he married me for. Everybody but me. Stupid! Stupid me!
I see. Papa, when you feel better, couldn't we go away? I mean, by ourselves. Couldn't we find
Yes.
a way?
I know what you mean, dear. We'll try to find a way. I promise you.
Rest a bit, Miss Bertie. You get talking like this, you'll get a headache.
I've never had a headache in my life! You know it as well as I do. I've never had a headache, Sam. That's a lie they tell for me. I drink all by myself in my room. I drink. And then, when they want to hide it, they say, Bertie's got a headache again.
Aunt Bertie.
Even you won't like me. You won't like me anymore.
I love you. I'll always love you.
Well, don't. Because in 20 years, you'll be just like me. They'll do all the same things to you. You know something? In 22 years, And that's the way you'll be. You'll trail after them, just like me, hoping they won't be so mean that day, or say something that will make you feel so bad. Only you'll be worse off because you haven't got my mama to remember.
I guess we were all just trying to make a happy day. You know, we sit around and try to pretend like nothing's happened. We try to pretend that we are not here. We make believe that we are someplace else, just by ourselves. And it just doesn't seem to work. Come now, Aunt Bertie, I'll walk you home. Just you and me.
Well, first time I ever heard Miss Birdie say a word. Maybe it's good for her. I'm just sorry Zan had to hear it. You feel bad, don't you?
So you didn't want Zan to hear? It would be nice if we could let her stay innocent, like Birdie at her age. Let her listen now. Let her see everything. How else is she going to know that she's got to get away from this? I'm trying to show her that. I'm trying. But I haven't got very long. She can even hate me when I'm dead, as long as she learns to hate and fear this.
Mr. Horace.
Pretty soon you'll be the only one left to help her, Addie.
What can I do?
Take her away.
How can I do that? Do you think they'd just let me go away with her?
I'll fix it so they can't stop you when you're ready to go. You'll go, Addie?
Yes, sir, I promise.
I'm going to have Self Fowler make me a new will. They'll put up a fight, but you make Zan stand firm, and Fowler will do the rest. I want to leave something for you, Addie. I always have.
Don't you do that, Mr. Horace. A Negro woman in a white man's will? I'd never get it nohow.
I know, but upstairs in my right armoire drawer is an envelope. It has $1,700 bills in it. It's money left over from my trip. It's for you. The envelope has your name on it.
$1,700 bills? My God, Mr. Horace, I won't know how to count up that high. It's mighty kind and good of you. I don't know what to say for thanks.
I'm back. Hello, I'm back.
So we see.
Well?
Nothing. I just went down there and spoke my piece. Just like you told me. I say, Mr. Horace, he thank you mightily for the safe deposit box coming in good condition. And to come up right after supper and bring Mr. Attorney-at-Law Saul Fowler with you. After that, wipe my hand in the back of my coat. Every time I told a lie my whole life, I always wipe my hand right after. Now, while I'm wiping my hand, Mr. Leo, he jump up and he say, "What box? What you talking about?"
Did he?
Mm-hmm. And then he said he gotta leave a little early, in case he got something to do. And then Mr. Manda, he said, "Sit back down and stop acting like some major Mr. President or something." So he sat back down. Now, just like I told you, Mr. Manda, he was mighty surprised. 'Cause he knew right well the safe deposit box came in good condition. But he took it all right. Some men take everything easy, and some do not.
Mr. Leo was telling the truth. He has got something to do. I hope Miranda don't keep him too long.
Pull the carriage around back and put my boxes on the left.
No, leave me right here.
But that's Mr. Gina coming back.
Go on, Addie.
Don't talk no more today,
Go
Mr.
on,
Horace.
Addie.
We had agreed that you were to stay in your part of this house and I mine. This room is my part of the house. Please don't come down here again.
I won't.
I'll get Cal to take you upstairs.
Before you do, I'd like to let you know that after all, we have invested our money in Hubbard Sons and Marshall Cotton Manufacturers.
What are you talking about? You haven't seen Ben. When did you change your mind?
I didn't change my mind. I didn't invest the money. It was invested for me.
What?
See that safe deposit box? It had $88,000 in Union Pacific bonds. They're gone now. Go and look, Regina. Go on. Those bonds are as negotiable as money.
What kind of joke are you playing now? Is this for my benefit?
I don't look in that box very often, but 3 days ago, because I made a decision.
I want to know what you're talking about.
Don't interrupt me again. 3 days ago, on Wednesday it was, because I had made a decision, I sent for that box. The bonds were gone. $88,000 gone.
Have you really gone crazy?
Believe what you'd like.
I don't believe it.
I wasn't there, but I can guess what happened. This fine young man, whom you were willing to let Zan marry, took the keys and opened the box. You remember the night of the fight, when Oscar went to Chicago? Well, he went with the bonds that his son Leo had stolen for him. And for Ben too, of course.
When did you find out the bonds were gone?
Wednesday night.
I thought that's what you said. Why have you waited 3 days to do anything? This will make a fine story.
Couldn't it?
A fine story to hold over their heads. How could they be such fools?
But I'm not going to hold it over their heads.
What?
I'm going to let them keep the bonds, as a loan from you. They should be grateful to you. They will be, I think.
I see. You are punishing me. But I won't let you punish me. If you won't do anything, I will. Now.
You won't do anything. It'll do you no good to cause trouble, because I'll simply say that I lent them the bonds.
You would do that?
Yes. For the first time in your life, I'm tying your hands. And there's nothing you can do.
I see. You are going to pretend that you lent them the bonds and let them keep all the profit they make on them. And there's nothing I can do about it. Is that right?
Yes.
Why did you say that I was making this gift?
I was just coming to that. I'm going to make a new will, leaving you $88,000 in Union Pacific bonds. The rest will go to Zan. It's true that your brothers have borrowed your share for now. After my death, I suggest you talk to Ben and Oscar. They won't admit to anything, and Ben will be smart enough to know that he's safe, because I knew about the theft and said nothing. Nor will I say anything, as long as I live. Is that clear?
You will not say anything as long as you live.
That's right. And by that time, they probably will have returned the bonds, and they'll belong to you. And nobody will ever know what happened except for you and me. They should be around any minute. I took special care to see that word reached Leo. They'll be mighty relieved to know that I'm going to do nothing. And Ben will think it all a capital joke on you. There's nothing you can do to them, and there's nothing you can do to me. And that's that.
You hate me very much.
No.
Oh, I think you do. Well, we haven't been very good together. Anyway, I don't hate you either. I only have contempt for you. I've always had.
From the very first?
I think so.
I was in love with you. Why did you marry me?
I was lonely when I was young.
You were lonely?
Not the way people usually mean. Lonely for all the things I wasn't going to get. Everything in this house was so busy, and there was so little place for what I wanted. I wanted the world. Then, Papa died and left the money to Ben and Oscar.
And you married me.
Yes, I thought, but I was wrong. You were a small town clerk then. You haven't changed.
And that wasn't what you wanted?
No, it wasn't what I wanted. It took me a little while to find out I had made a mistake. And as for you, well, it was almost as if I couldn't stand the kind of man you were. I used to lie there at night, praying you wouldn't come near me.
Was it as bad as that?
Remember when I went to Dr. Sloan and I told you he said there was something the matter with me, and that you shouldn't touch me anymore?
I remember.
And you believed it? I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand how anybody could be just a soft fool. That was when I began to despise you.
Why didn't you leave?
I told you, I I married you for something. Turns out it was only for this. No, it wasn't what I wanted. But it was something. I never thought about it much, but if I had, I'd have known you would die before I would. But I couldn't have known that you would get heart trouble so early and so bad. I'm lucky, Horace. I've always been lucky.
Please, tell Addie the other bottle's upstairs.
And I'll be lucky again.
Regina, please! Addie!
Horace? Addie, Cal, come in here. He's had a bad attack.
My God, Mr. Horace.
Bring in the left room over there.
Addie? Addie, what happened?
I'm going for the doctor. Go upstairs.
Hello? Never saw any use ringing a bell when the door was open. If you're going to ring a bell, then somebody should answer it. And Regina? Addie? Where the hell? Cal! Cal!
Miss Leo, Miss Gina say stop that screaming.
Where is everybody?
Mr. Horace got an attack. It's bad.
Uncle Horace? What happened? When? You see Mr. Oscar, Mr. Ben? Answer me, will you?
No, I ain't seen him. I ain't got time to answer your questions. I gotta get things.
When did this happen? Where? What's the matter? Think Papa would be someplace you could find him. I've been chasing him all afternoon.
I hope it's not a bad attack.
It's the first one he had since he
Papa,
comes home.
all of town.
Where is he?
Addie said it was sudden.
Where is he? What did it happen?
Upstairs. Will
Do you think we should go up, Ben? I don't know if
Please listen to me.
What is the matter with you?
I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to find you for an hour.
Tell me what?
Uncle Horace knows about the bonds. He knows about them. He's had the box since Wednesday.
Stop shouting! What the hell are you talking about?
Uncle Horace knows about the bonds. Ain't that clear enough?
Goddamn fool! Stop screaming.
Now what happened? Talk quietly.
You heard me. Uncle Horace knows about the bonds. He's had the box since Wednesday.
How do you know that?
Well, because Cal comes down to Manor, says the box came okay, and
But that might not mean a thing if he
no,
doesn't.
no, it might not, huh? And then he says Manor should come here tonight and bring Saul Fowler with him. I guess that don't mean a thing either.
Ben, Sulfa. What do you think he's seen the bonds?
There's the box. You ass, put it down. What are you gonna do with it? Eat it?
Well, I'm gonna.
I said put it down! Don't touch it. Sit down and shut up for a minute.
Since Wednesday. You said he's had the bonds since Wednesday. I don't
I
understand
can
why
put
you...
it back. I can put it back before anybody knows.
The box since Wednesday. He hasn't said a word to us. Why?
Why? What's the difference? Why? He was getting ready to say plenty. He was gonna say they're Fowler tonight.
Be still.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe it? What do I care what you believe? I did the dirty work.
I'm remembering that! I'm remembering that, Leo.
What do you mean?
If you don't shut that little fool up, I'll show you what I mean. For some reason, he knows. He knows, but he doesn't say a word to us.
But maybe he doesn't know that we were the
That
ones...
Leo... Oh, he's no fool. Leo, does Mandarin know the bonds are missing?
How could I tell? I was half crazy. And I don't think so because Vander seemed kind of puzzled.
But we've got to find out if...
How is it, Cal?
Oh no, Mr. Van, he ain't looking too good.
But when did it happen?
It was all right early on. Next thing you know, he's on the landing, keeling over, eyes tight.
Dr. Sloan's over at the Belongs. Hitch the buggy and go get him.
Yes, sir.
Go on.
Never seen Sloan anywhere when you need him.
This sounds bad.
He would have told her about it. And Regina would have told his own wife.
Maybe, but then again, they worked on such pretty terms, and maybe he didn't. Now you listen to me. If she doesn't know, it may work out all right. If she does know, listen to me, you're to say that he lent you the bonds.
Lent them to me. Who's gonna believe that?
Nobody! Don't you understand, Leo? It won't do no harm to say
Well,
it!
why should I say he lent them to me? Why not to you? Why not to Uncle Ben?
Just because he didn't lend them to me. Remember that.
All he has to do is say he didn't lend
For
them.
some reason, he doesn't seem to be talking, does he? What happened?
He's had a bad attack.
Too bad. I'm sorry we weren't there when Horace needed us.
When you needed us.
Yes.
How is he? Can we go up?
He's not conscious.
It's that bad? That damn doctor. Wouldn't you think he could be found just once? Once when we needed him?
I don't think there's much for him to do.
Regina, don't talk like that. Horace has come through attacks before, and he'll come through now.
Well, we haven't seen each other since the day of our fight.
Regina, that was nothing. I remember you and Oscar and I used to fight when we were kids.
But don't you think we should go up? Is there anything we can do to help Horace?
You don't feel well.
No, I don't. Horace told me about the bonds this afternoon.
What do you mean? What bonds? What are you talking about?
The Union Pacific bonds? Horace's Union Pacific bonds?
Yes.
What do you mean? What could he have told you?
He told me that Leo had stolen the bonds and given them to you.
Regina, that is absolutely...
What are you talking about? I don't know why.
Isn't it enough that he stole them from me? Do I have to listen to this in the bargain?
You are talking crazily tonight.
I didn't steal them. I don't
Would
know.
you ask them to stop that, please?
Aren't we starting at the wrong end, Regina? What exactly did Horace tell you?
He told me that Leo had stolen the
I
bonds.
didn't steal!
Please let me finish. Then he said that he was going to pretend he had lent me the bonds as a present from me to my brothers, and that there was nothing I could do about it. Then he said that the rest of the money would go to Alexandra. That is all.
I told you he had lent them. I could have told
So
you.
I'm very badly off, you see. But Horace told me there was nothing I could do about it, as long as he was alive to say he had lent them to you.
You shouldn't feel that way. It can all be explained, all be adjusted.
So you at least are willing to admit that the bonds were stolen?
Oh, I admit no such thing. It is quite possible that Horace made up that part of the tale to tease you, or perhaps to punish you.
It's not a pleasant story, Ben. I feel bad. Naturally,
Now
I
you
thought
shall
my-
have the bonds safely back. That was the understanding, wasn't it, Oscar?
Yes.
I'm glad to know that. I had greater
No,
hopes
don't
of...
talk that way. That's foolish. No. I think we ought to drive out for Sloan ourselves. If we can't find him, we'll go out to Senateville for Dr. Morris. Regina, don't think I'm dismissing this other business, because I'm not. We'll have it all out on a more appropriate day.
I don't think you had better go yet. I think you'd better stay and sit down.
We'll be back with Sloan.
Cal has gone for him already. I don't want you to go.
Don't worry, we'll be back.
You will come back in this room and sit down. I have something more to say.
Since when do I take orders from you?
You don't. Yet. Come back, Oscar. You too, Leo.
My dear Regina, You couldn't possibly...
Horace has already clipped your wings, and very wittily. Must I clip them too? You have to get farther with a smile, Regina. I am a soft man for a woman's smile.
I'm smiling then. I'm smiling because you are quite safe while Horace lives. But I don't think Horace will live. And if he doesn't, I shall want 75% in exchange for the bonds.
Greedy. What a greedy girl you are. You want so much of everything.
Yes, and if I don't get it, I'm going to put all 3 of you in jail.
You're mighty crazy. Having just admitted
And on
that...
what evidence would you put Oscar and Leo in jail?
Oh, Oscar, listen to him. He's getting ready to swear that it was you and Leo. What do you say to that? Oh, but don't look so upset, Oscar. I'm going to see that he goes in with you.
Try anything you like, Regina. Now we can stop all this and say goodbye to you. It's Horace's money. He's obviously willing to let us borrow it. Learn to make threats when you can carry them through. For how many years have I told you that a good-looking woman such as yourself gets more by being soft and appealing? Mama used to tell you that. Where the hell is Sloan? Oscar, go hitch the buggy, go out to Senateville for Dr. Moore.
What? Alexandra? What is... My God. I didn't know it was that bad. Who could have known?
It seems like just yesterday when he first came home.
Yes, that's true. The whole town loved him, respected him.
Did you love him, Uncle Oscar?
Well, Alexandra, that's a silly question. You can't.
Did you love him, Uncle Ben?
He had many
And you, Mama? Did you love him too?
I know what you feel, Alexandra, but please try to control yourself.
I am trying, Mama. I am trying very hard.
Grief makes some people laugh and some people cry, but it's better to cry, Alexandra.
What was Papa doing on the staircase?
Please go and lie down, my dear. We all need time to get over shocks like this.
No, I'll wait. I've got to talk to you.
Later. Go and rest now.
I'll wait, Mama. I've got plenty of time. All my life.
Well, as I was saying, tomorrow I'm going to Judge Simmons and I
Not
shall tell him
the
about
child,
you. I didn't
Regina.
ask her to stay. Tomorrow I go to Judge Simmons.
And what proof? What proof of all this nonsense?
None. I won't need it. The bonds are missing and they're with Marshall. That should be enough. And if it isn't, I'll add what's necessary.
I'm sure you will.
You can be quite sure.
We'll deny everything.
Oh, deny your heads off. You can find a jury who wouldn't weep for a woman whose brothers steal from her. And you can find 12 men in this state who haven't cheated and hate you for it.
What kind of talk is this, Regina? We're your own brothers. How can you talk this way when not 5 minutes
There are
ago?
people who can never go back, who must finish what they start. I'm one of those people, Oscar. Now, where was I? Well, they'll convict you. But I won't care too much if they don't, because by that time, you'll be ruined. I shall also tell my story to Mr. Marshall, who likes me, I think, and who will not want to be involved in your scandal. A respectable firm like Marshall & Company? The deal would be off in an hour. And you know it. Now I don't want to hear any more from you. You'll do no more bargaining in this house. I'll take my 75% and we'll forget the story forever. That's one way of doing it and the way I prefer. You both know me well enough to know I don't mind taking the other way.
None of us have ever known you well enough, Regina.
You're getting old, Ben. Your tricks aren't as smart as they used to be. Well, all right. I take it that's settled and I get what I asked for.
Are you just going to let her do this when we...
Do you have a suggestion?
No, he hasn't. Now, Leo, I've forgotten that you ever saw the bonds. And as long as you boys both behave yourselves, well, I've forgotten we ever talked about them. You can drop the necessary papers tomorrow. You're a good loser, Ben. I like that.
Well, I say to myself, what's the good? You and I, we aren't like Oscar. We're not sour people. You know, I think that comes from a good digestion. Then too, one loses today and wins tomorrow. I say to myself, years of planning, and I'll get just what I want. And then I don't get it. But I'm not discouraged. The century is turning. The world is open. Open for people like you and me. Open for us. Just waiting for us. After all, this is just the beginning. There are hundreds of Hubbards sitting in rooms just like this all across the country. All of their names aren't Hubbard, of course, but they are all Hubbards. And they will own this country someday. We'll get along.
I think so.
Then, too, I say to myself, things may change. I agree with Alexandra. What is a man in a wheelchair doing on the staircase? I ask myself that.
And what do you answer?
I have no answer. Not yet. Maybe someday I will, but maybe never. When I do, I'll let you know.
When you do, write me. I'll be in Chicago. Ah, Ben, if only Papa had left me his money.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, certainly. You'll be sort of working for me now.
Alexandra, you're turning out to be a right interesting girl. Good night, all.
Now, what was it you wanted to talk about, Alexandra?
I've changed my mind. I don't want to talk. There isn't anything to talk about.
You're acting very strange this evening, Alexandra. Not like yourself. You've had a bad shock today. I know that. And you loved Papa. But you must have expected this to come someday. You knew how sick he was.
I knew. We all knew.
Be good for you to get away from all this. Good for me, too. Time heals most wounds, Alexandra. And you're young. You shall have all the things I wanted. I'll make the world for you the way I wanted it to be for me when I was young. Well, don't just sit there staring. You've been around Bertie so much, you're starting to get to be just like her.
Funny. That's what Bertie said today.
Be good for you to get away from all this.
Cal is back, Miss Regina. He said Dr. Sloan will be coming in a few minutes.
We'll go in a few weeks. A few weeks. That's 2 or 3 Saturdays, 2 or 3 Sundays. Well, I'm very tired and I shall go to bed. I don't want any supper. Put out the lights and lock up. You go to your room, Alexandra. Addie will bring you something hot. You look very tired. Now call me when Dr. Sloan gets here. I don't want to see anybody else. I'll take no condolence calls tonight. The whole town would be over.
I'm not coming with you, Mama. I am not going to Chicago.
You're very upset, Alexandra.
I mean what I say, with all my heart.
We'll talk about it in the morning.
No, we won't. Because the morning won't make any difference. Because I want to go away from you. As I've never wanted anything in my life before. Because I know Papa wanted me to.
You know your father wanted you to go away from me?
Yes.
And if I say no?
Say it. Say it, Mama, and see what happens.
And if I make you stay?
That would be foolish. It wouldn't work in the end.
Well, you're very serious about it, aren't you? You will make your mind in a few days.
You only change your mind when you want to, and I won't want to.
Alexandra, I've come to the end of my rope. Somewhere there has to be what I want to. Life goes too fast. Think what you want, do what you want, go where you want. I'd like to keep you with me, but I won't make you stay. Too many people used to make me do too many things. No, I won't make you stay.
You couldn't, Mama, because I want to go away from you, as I've never wanted anything in my life before, because I understood what Papa was trying to tell me. All in one day, Addie said there were people who ate the earth and other people who stood around and watched them do it. And just now, Uncle Ben, he said the same thing. Really, he said the same thing. Well, tell him for me, Mama. I am not just going to stand around and watch you do it. Tell him I'll be fighting as hard as he'll be fighting. Someplace where people don't just stand around and watch.
Well, you have spirit after all. I used to think you were all sugar water. We don't have to be bad friends, Alexandra. I don't want us to be bad friends. Alexandra, would you like to come and talk to me? Would you like to sleep in my room tonight?
Are you afraid, Mama?